Hello, everyone, and welcome to Keep It Spiritually Simple. I'm your host, Sandra McEllis, and today we have an awesome, beautiful guest, intuitive speaker, medium, psychic. I don't care what you call her. She doesn't care what you call her, but she's a divine galactic ambassador for the United Kingdom of humans here on Earth. How about that? So, listen, you all don't want to miss any upcoming episodes or the opportunity to look at any previous episodes. So, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share to keep it spiritually simple. We appreciate your support, and it helps our videos circulate through the algorithms and the abyss of social media. So, anyway, welcome, Kathy Kieland.
Kristine.
Kristine, sorry.
That's okay.
Kathy's next.
There's lots more. And I have to tell you a story because there are years I wouldn't correct people on my name.
Well, I'm glad you do.
Yeah. There's a time I worked with a gentleman, lovely gentleman. He called me Cynthia, and I thought he was making fun of me for probably about 5 years. I never corrected him. Finally, I figured out, oh, he just remembered the very first time remembered wrong.
Yes.
And because of my self-esteem at that time or whatever was going on, it's like I never corrected it.
No,
So,
I should know Kristine because we Zoom once a month. I should know
okay.
this, right? But I also have a Kathy with a K coming on after this. So I'm like, all right. So that's what happens when we do spur of the moment non-rehearsal. In humans, we make mistakes. So hey, welcome, Kristine.
And it's all energy. I am so
Yes.
pleased to be with you. I'm so glad I've been able to meet with you the last couple months on our Mighty Night gatherings. You are just amazing, an amazing, wonderful gift to this bright expansion of the human consciousness. And I'm so pleased and blessed. I don't really use the word blessed a whole lot, but I'm coming into that. That's really a great word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I feel very honored to be part of the group and getting to know you and the other women. It's we've been able to be very authentic and candid with our feelings with no judgment. And that's really what we want to see more of in the universe right now.
Yes, the non-judgment.
Yes.
There's just it's like bubbling up and out of people
So
when they're having a hard time taking
yes.
responsibility for themselves. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I think we were just on a little delay. I did not mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay. It's hard when we're not in person.
Yeah. So what in the world is happening right now, according to you and
Oh,
your whole team?
yeah. It is being human. It's being human. I'm feeling and listening to it. How do you be human with the most human qualities being presented? And then they're underlying that, not the most human qualities, what we assume are human qualities and not the divine qualities. So we're leading through the body memory of trauma and not the soul's desire to be seen, heard, and witnessed, and to create from the soul's. Sandra, quite often I say something, that's not quite right. It's what people hear. The soul always creates. You and I know this, whatever it's creating, the good, the bad, and the different. But right now, we're in this like, just beautiful expansion. We really can go through the highest consciousness of the soul, which is not judgment, which is not devastation. We're seeing a lot of devastation energy coming to the surface. I want to destroy another being coming to the surface. Different grids on the planet. I see other grids that aren't that energy. It's just this beautiful, wonderful expansion, loving, compassionate, generous energy. But we have to see the ugly to have choice. So I tell myself, I tell others, I revoke consent. Wherever this consent was given consciously or unconsciously, perhaps it was just a mild, what would it be like to have power over one another? What would it be like to be disempowered? And then it snowballs. And we're seeing this across the globe in many places. I happen to live near to Minneapolis, and it's on fire. And the dragons are here to help, but it's really the human personality that got inverted and distorted. And we're operating from fear that something's going to be taken away from me, but also the conscious that I'm seeing most present, even it's something you're aware of, but it's like screaming right now. is I'm human and you're subhuman. And so the ability to treat someone with cruelty just because they exist is what I'm seeing right now. Not everywhere around the globe, but that's what needs to be seen and purged and change the energy around it. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes total sense. And I also want the audience to know that you are receiving messages as you speak. And so, so those who aren't seeing us on YouTube, where we can see how our eyes move or our bodies listening, I just want everyone to know that Kristine is receiving messages as we speak. So sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, or there's a moment of you're receiving a message, but you want to make sure you're understanding it. Just like if you were a person with someone and someone says something and it throws you for a loop and you're like, let me think about that, make sure I understand that correctly. So you're in that dialogue. So I just want our audience to know that you're in these
Thank you for
transmission.
clarifying. Because often, as you're receiving something, they want it to be the team. So all the teams, that truly is like a nation, just many nations coming together, whether it's earth elementals, the angelic realm, galactic realm, the human presence. What's the best vibrational match? And many times the English language or my English language doesn't match. So there's an adjustment period of how do I best express what wants to be said. So thank you for making that clear, because it is hard. Sometimes people think, what's going on? Why is there such a pause?
Yes. So, I mean, we all have this innate ability to communicate. You're just more experienced at it because you spent the time to develop and skill it and hone it in so that you can present that to people through events, newsletters, classes and private sessions. And that's beautiful. However, for listeners who might just be tuning in, they might be like, what?
What's she
So,
talking about?
yeah, so it's really important to know that sometimes we know what's going on and we'll just jump in on something, but it might seem very random to someone else that's around us, but we've already pre-thought it, or it's been coming through. And so I just want the audience to be aware that, this show is one that we have to be flexible and adaptable and bounce with it. So again, nothing's rehearsed. We're just going to jump right in here and give you what's coming through, either of us.
Yeah. And many
for the
times
present
words
moment.
can be extreme. Like if I say devastation energy, or just, it may not be our normal vocabulary, may not talk like that. Or the opposite, glorious, magnificent, the divine, wonderful beings that we are, creative force of nature that we are. So it's really getting comfortable changing our vocabulary and our perception of the way things are. And right now we're seeing the blinders are coming off. So what has always been occurring that we no longer want to participate in. And sometimes it can be very difficult to see, sense, or feel the greater world around us. And then how do we stay stable and secure in our own being? And how do we create something new? That's what I see going on right now. Really a choice.
Yeah, and we've been waiting for this for a very long time. We've been asking for, all the crap to float to the surface so we can skim it off and see what's below and work with that love energy, because everything has been so distorted for greed of mankind for, centuries and hundreds of thousands of years. And we can just look around us at this moment in time and see how this destruction has built up to a point of there is no more trash piles. You can't put any more trash in the dump. It's just not going to work. You can't throw anything else in the sea. You just can't. And so we are at this breaking point right now where, some people are seeing it like, how the heck did we get here? And wanting to pump the brakes, and others who have seen it coming, right, as we have. And so we're at this point now where we need more people to see it, because more people need to join in with their shovels, their brooms, their dumpsters to coming to assist to get this stuff off the planet so that we can go back to our more authentic, unencumbered trash that we've been carrying around thinking that's part of us.
Mm-hmm. And what I've been witnessing, particularly with clients lately, and even family and friends, they're starting to feel things. All the layers of numbness, I guess you could say, or just don't want to know, or trauma that's been suppressed, whether it's very mild, mommy said, no, you can't have a cookie, just very extreme things. We're starting to feel it. So it's almost like coming out of hypnosis, coming out of a coma. And so that's uncomfortable too, because I don't really want to feel. I don't want to feel all that I've been suppressing. And we've been suppressing joy and tears and trauma. So it's an allowance of, just like the earth, what needs to be set free for an evolution. And when things are under lock and key, right, it's very tight and restricted, and you're not looking or feeling or sensing, um, allowing what has already occurred to become a truth and to let it flow freely. That's what I'm seeing too. And I just lost my train of thought, so it'll come back.
Well, when you're talking there, I'm just thinking of the layers of protection that we put on ourselves consciously and unconsciously. Um, energy is something people don't really understand. So you can walk into a room and there could be a specific type of energy, and you may never have met the person or that type of energy, but your energetic body knows, brace yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm safe. So it takes us a little
Never
while
lied.
to calibrate, right? So we're walking around with all these blankets of protection that we truly don't comprehend in the conscious mind of the conscious living that we have to take each step through in our life now.
And that's what we're seeing. We're getting out of survival mode. It's becoming, not across the board, but it's becoming safer. Although right now it doesn't feel very safe in many places. It feels like the exact opposite. But recognizing that we've been kind of a time warp. And things were very, very slow. Things are wrapping up now. So we can actually process things in the moment for some of us. And some are learning how to do that. I also see this is a completion of a lot of the World War II energy and things that built up to World War II energy. And so wherever that has occurred and not been understood, evolved through that concept, that's what I see as a witness. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense because really in the last decade, we've had more and more information come up about World War II. And if you really think about it from a physical and energetic global thing, that was a tipping point.
Yes, it was.
We were tilted into a direction that not many had foresight to see needed stopped.
Yeah.
And so now we're looking at it like, we need to all start going back this way and tip it back this way because this has caused destruction.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of being human. You can always pivot. You can always say, oops, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. So I'm going to create a different choice. I'm going to verbally, mentally, emotionally say no, have a different choice. And it's okay that we went sideways. I think the judgment can be very harmful too, because it's judgment against one and judgment against yourself. And that just extends the vibrational field of distrust. And I need to be separate from you, when we're really trying to create this unified field that I can be different than you. We're all created, from the same, if you want to call it the beam light, we're all created from source, but to have a different expression of source. Yes. So if I want to be exactly as you and have the exact same thought of you, that's I think that's the beginning, perhaps, of where the roller coaster started. Now it just went off the rails now.
Yeah, and I think, for me personally and many people that I know, we've come to the realization that we've been following everyone else's program. And it's like, wait a second, hold on, what? I don't know that I believe that. I don't know that that's true. I don't know that I even like that piece of cake. I don't know that I believe in that belief system. I don't know that I want to stay in that demographic. So we find ourselves following so many other programs that have been, in place prior, because there's a shame in breaking that chain. Like, oh, well, you're not as good as the rest of your family. You're just going to go off over there and do this. So there's a lot of fear that comes up about breaking away and being different, because you're really walking into the unknown. And I think many of us just need to wipe off the whiteboard and start from scratch.
That's fair. And that's what the young ones, the souls coming in now, they're not young souls, but into young new bodies, they're doing that. They're not here to clean up. They're just, here I am, straight. And I think it's okay to recognize that we had these systems in place at times for survival. If we're too different, if I don't align with my mother's energy, how do I survive? If I don't align with my tribe or my community or my family, it's very hard to recognize when I only need their assistance so they can stay in physical body, and when can I kind of break away? And then we get all these belief systems, like you said, where you're supposed to honor what you know and not step away. And we're here to step away, to create something new. Doesn't mean you have to reject everything, but mostly we're rejecting everything. Yeah, and you do it in your own way, in your own pace.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I've been on that journey for a long time and felt like I was on a different perch than other people were. And that's okay. Um, everything's a lesson, everything you're learning, you're bobbing and weaving and learning how to carry the ball, drop the ball, take a nap, get up again, pick it up, go in another direction, and
Yep.
still be a-okay with whatever's turning out, good, bad, or indifferent in that time frame, because it's a lesson. And if you look at it in anything else, then you dip into those heavier frequencies of, oh, I did something wrong, oh, I shouldn't have done that, oh, look at that, I'm the shame, blame, coulda, shoulda, woulda BS,
Yeah, that's just the
starts to
loop.
soak in. It is, it's a
It just
very
keeps
negative
looping.
feedback loop.
It just, how do you, it's very hard to get out of that. And you have to start feeling something to want to feel something different.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes too much to feel this way. I'm going to now cultivate a different feeling. I'm going to nourish something different.
Yes, and thank you for bringing up feelings, because it's taken me decades to understand that my first communication is feeling. And so you're never taught that with anything else. This is why I always stood back and observed as a kid, because I was processing that words, that visual couldn't identify for me. It had to be feeling. But then you get thrown into that world with those five senses and the way they teach. And then you think, oh, I'm not as good as everyone else, or I'm not as intelligent as others, because you learn differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so feelings, I think, are very important. And there's a lot of people right now that are waking up to these boatloads of feelings and not knowing quite what to do with them. So what would you suggest for those people who are feeling this overwhelming feelings and they don't know what they are and they don't quite know what to do? So many will do nothing.
Yeah. And
So how do we help those do something?
it can be very, very overwhelming. So I think the first thing is to just give yourself a break. Just recognize, wow, it's like you're in a tsunami of feelings right now. And if you've not been used to feeling, it can feel, sometimes people feel like they're literally, what's wrong with my mental status? It can be pain in the body, shows up in different ways, but I think the best thing to do is just take a pause. Is there something I need to know about this feeling? A lot of times there's not. Do we need to know the story? Do we need to know why it was created? Or am I just going to let it come out? And so it can come out in tears and come out in body aches and come out in frustration. And then it's not so much that you want to temper it, because we don't want to stop the flow anymore, but perhaps I'm just listening as I'm listening to everybody listening. Really be gentle. Again, don't go into judgment. Why is this happening? It's happening because it's a necessity. So suppressed feelings feel like and seem to me like an infection in the body. Bacteria grows and grows and grows until the pus bubble needs to break. And then there's no stopping it. And the only way you get rid of the infection is to actually feel it. And so I suggest you get some support, however that makes sense to you. Don't keep it hidden. It's that judgment and then maybe that shame. Why am I feeling this? It is a necessity to feel, so that you become knowing and you start to gain your own wisdom. So practice I like is just taking a pause. Take a minute pause throughout the day, because we have to unwind our nervous system. And we have to know it's okay to feel and find a place where it feels safe, because all these emotions coming out, and there's a little bit difference between emotions and feelings, but all the feelings coming out of the body doesn't necessarily feel safe, because it's awkward. And you've been so programmed and used to, I need to hide. So find people who allow you to be authentic with yourself. If you're having a messy day, it's okay. You may have messy months. How do you work with that, Sandra? Because I have a lot of different ways. And it's really when I'm with the person, what comes through best for them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I learned a long time ago to stop, drop, sit, connect with my breath. So stop and be aware that something's just different, right? And drop into that, allow it to be, don't hide it, don't shove it off, don't say I'll deal with that later. Drop into it.
Mhm.
And then to allow it to sit and marinate and connect with your breath, all the while you're still in movement, right? You don't need to stop, drop, and actually physically sit, but energetically you are. And allow it to just sort of marinate there for a little bit, because answers will come to you. And sometimes it's just a realization of, I think I'm stepping out of a program, and I'm actually physically completely 1000% here. I think before I was partially here, throughout whatever the situation may be. We are coiled up so tight that flow cannot occur. The currency of the frequency of flow just is so blocked up. And we think that's normal. And so I like what you're saying. The first thing we need to do is connect with that nervous system. And one of the most simple ways to do that is absolute breath. And the unwinding while the bubble breaks, sometimes we look at ourselves as, am I crazy? So what do? We go to traditional therapy. We go talk to our primary care. And of course, they have a list only this big to ask you X amount of questions, medicate you and send you to here, or you still walk away thinking you're crazy, but you're not. The world is changing and you as an individual are changing. And so I always suggest find a friend that you can at least unconditionally talk to, who, even if they think you are crazy, they're not telling you you're crazy. They're listening to you with love and compassion to help you uncoil and unwind.
And have the courage to express yourself, even as
Mhm.
scary as it can be. And I think another key is to look at what behaviors and patterns do I go into when it starts to get really uncomfortable. For me, I didn't always recognize it until maybe days or weeks, sometimes even years later, when I was shutting down. Now I can recognize in my vibration shifts, I can recognize it pretty quickly because I go into irritation.
Yeah.
I get irritated really quickly or crabby. I'm like, oh, what am I not allowing? Or what am I judging? Normally it's like I'm suppressing something in myself so my vibration drops, and it may be to fit. I can even notice when I go into different towns or different people. So that's me. That's just like my tell. But for somebody else, maybe I go shopping, or maybe I take a drink, or maybe I talk to Cecily on the phone, or maybe I sit down and watch TV, or maybe I just how am I distancing myself from what's actually occurring? So again, it's just more and more awareness, and they use the tools. I was with my grandson the other day taking a walk. He's 4, going around, and he was so genius. He laid down on the cement. He just laid down. He says, "I just need a break." And I thought, wow, thank you. We get to do that. We get to say, I just need a break. He had about 3 minutes. He recalibrated his energy, got back up, went on his way. But it was like, come on, sweetheart, you need to go. It's cold out. Grandma's tired, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you get to do that. And I'll just witness, and I'll be with you, and I'll just feel the beauty of you and the love of you. And we go in this unified field, and you take all the time you need. And then, like, his whole energy field changed. So allowing more of that for yourself, like honor that, the wholeness of you, and a lot of honoring that child. Many times it's not intentionally that we're, get pushed in a different direction, or, a lot of it comes from what we think is love. Because parents are all jacked up too, their nervous system. So it's just unwinding. It's a lot of unwinding. And we're seeing that globally now, a lot of unwinding of trauma.
Yeah, and it's interesting. This morning it was coming up to my mind about parents truly are not given an owner's manual, right? And there's no disc that you're putting into a child, and this is going to be their program, and this is how you're going to work with them. So as a parent, we sort of get lost in I'm going to do the best I can, and maybe the best I can just damaged you, but then it helped you, right? Especially if you have multiple children. And the only thing that you can do is say, everything I did out of love, and please forgive me for not knowing, or if you thought I said or did something intentional, please forgive me, because that wasn't my original intent. And I think we get so busy with our lives that we don't realize how our responses and reactions truly affect another
Yeah.
person.
And what I've been witnessing and very aware of is, especially with children, stop and just listen. And it helps if you do it with the adults too, and wherever you are in any phase of life, just listen. What am I actually hearing? What am I pre-perceiving, thinking this is something when it's not? Many people shut off their listening 20, 30 seconds into a conversation. Children they need a slower pace sometimes, and they may need a quicker pace. So it's like, you need to witness, but it's you first. I've got to get myself regulated. And sometimes you're like, I don't have the bandwidth right now. I'm exhausted at the end of the day. So it's like taking the pause, and we kind of change subject. But I think it's so important to recognize that these little wisdom keepers that are coming in, they're teaching us so much. And if we can just pay attention and slow down and be curious as to what these souls are bringing, because they're bringing like a whole new template for humanity. And we get to open that template up and say, yes, I accept that for myself. And I'm listening to you. They're amazing. I am so lucky. I set it up in my life like this, but I have 4 little ones in my life. And I witness how my children are doing it differently. And I have to be very careful. I don't go into, I wish I would have done differently. Because
Yes.
that then sets ahead if there's something wrong with my children or my grandchildren. It's like, no, with my good, bad, or indifferent, what I understood about being a person, it did come from a sense of love, but a lot of times love is covered in fear. Yeah. So we have this wonderful opportunity to be so aware. Just be more every day, just be more aware. Where am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I doing? There's beauty right in front of me. I can see it, I can feel it, I can sense it. If I give myself permission, sometimes it actually is permission to do life a little bit differently. We are surrounded with the glory of the universe. It's now our opportunity to say, yes, I receive. I don't have to earn it. I don't have to work for it. It just is. I don't have to wait for oxygen to show up. It's here. So we exist because we are unified. And right now our unified field is a little crunchy, right? So we get to change that.
I think we have to trust that the energy that's changing, we're not going to land on spikes. We're going to be okay, right?
Be okay.
And I do know that there's not only the souls that are currently here that are evolving and changing instantly, which is why everything looks abnormal in your life. It's like pump the brakes. Some people would call it a midlife crisis. Well, we're having it of all ages right now. Of whoa, what is going on? Whoa, how was I participating in this? And coming back to just getting to a place of, I don't want all this. I want simplicity. I am just so grateful for the little things, right? Which puts your whole DNA in a place of harmony, right? Mm-hmm. And then all the little small things, like looking at a child talk and play in their innocence. And then you're like, huh, I think I was like that once. And whether I receive what I needed to receive from adults around me, that is for me to undo. Yeah. That is for me to now go in and nourish myself and not give any blame to those that maybe for whatever reason, which is why I love hypnosis and sometimes past life, is so you can get in there and you can understand a situation that you couldn't understand with the eyes that you had at the time. And so you have a little more of a peripheral view of what went on, so you can come to terms with whatever that is, because half the time we misunderstand so many things that have gone on, but we're now in the place where we have to be in the commander seat. It is time. Yes.
I think a blanket statement that's good, if it makes sense to you, is everybody behaves the way they do for whatever reason makes sense to them. And then I get to be curious and maybe go on discovery. Why are they presenting that way, and why am I responding that way? But you don't do something if it doesn't make sense to you. Mm-hmm. You just don't. And then you start to unravel why. And I think you're exactly right. We have to take self-responsibility. Utmost important. No longer can we blame or push it forward. Energetically, we know that things have gotten pushed forward karmically, or, souls don't take up that opportunity to resolve or understand a concept. It gets pushed forward. We're like, no, we're done. There's no more spiritual bypassing. And there are people who have talk our language and do it our way. And there's people that don't talk our language, but they're evolving, and they're bringing more of the soul body in, they're bringing more light body, but they may do it in different language, different um, ways of presenting themselves, or different careers. It doesn't have to be we're all doing it the same, but we are all moving forward. Different paces, different desires, but it's to become, to me, it's the evolved human, the light body, the illuminate.
Totally. I agree with you. And the destination to this heart-centered space is the same. It's all the different paths you get to go there, because maybe you want to learn it and experience differently because your communicational language has a different rock bottom, has a different cue of understanding something, so that you really truly get it and can move forward with it versus dragging it along.
Yeah.
And when you were talking there for a minute, I was thinking about so many people just don't have the wherewithal to be open and to have any expansion, because then that would have to mean they have to admit that so many things that they downloaded and learned is wrong. That it isn't, they didn't have a choice in what they just believed in, because it was DNA pounded into them, from lineages, and then also in your own household and domain. And so, you mentioned something and someone will go, no, that's wrong. No, absolutely not. But if you go, why did I just say that? Maybe it could be right. Who am I to say that that's wrong?
Right. It's what's right for me may be absolutely opposed to you, but I may say, eat meat. You may say, don't eat meat. I mean, that's a very simple example, but what is best for you is not necessarily best for someone else at this dimensional field. And I lost my train of thought again. It'll come back.
Well, I think that's the bottom line of getting in tune with who you are authentically, so that you can ask yourself in the moment, hey, is it a meat day? Is it a meat day? Is it a vegetable day?
Yeah.
Is it a water day? Instead of just going through your routine blindly, and the next thing you know, you've eaten some of the same things you've eaten in the last couple of days, or out of habit, because you haven't taken the time to say, I don't know if this is actually right for me in this moment. You do what you want to do, but I feel like my body wants this right now.
That's really intuitively, even like what
Yes.
clothes I wear, or which direction I walk, or who I'm talking to that day, or yeah.
Mhm.
So it's allowing those senses to be developed and nurtured.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how can we help more people come into this declaration of, hey, I'm breaking the chain, I'm cutting the cords. I won't fall. I won't dangle. I may be alone for a while as I surf through some things, but
Yeah.
what can we
I think it's
suggest
first
that?
a conscious decision. Excuse me, interrupting you. Conscious, because for many people, it's like, if I change this belief system, it's the start of a domino. The tower starts to fall. And it can be scary to change your life. And it doesn't necessarily mean it changes to the degree that you don't like it. But I think for many people, I'm just going to stay where I'm at because it's working for me. Very simple example, sometimes people don't get healthy because it changes their relationships with family. I'm not taken care of, or maybe I have to go to work now and I don't like going to work. Or like I said, these are very basic, but you have to see when I want to change my life. Am I willing to see how good it can get? Not what's going to change and make my life miserable. That's kind of a doom cycle people go through. If I change something, it's not going to be good. So recognize that the soul will always bring to your best experience. And now the best experience is not this limitation of we can only expand things in this very limited, low vibrational field. So it's being aware of one, why I've always believed, really simple one, why have I believed that the government has the best interest for me. Now, if you believe that, that's awesome. I'm not going to challenge that. But we've had some evidence over the last 60, 70 years that maybe that's not the most accurate. And maybe it comes down to maybe my family has best interest for me. Maybe not. Maybe you're looking at, I was talking to someone the other day, and the core belief in this family is you just stand by family no matter what. Maybe not. Those can be things that are hard to, I say hard, but it's really an invitation to change. It's an invitation to really self-love. And once you embody that, then it becomes almost automatic. You love all. Doesn't mean you accept all. Correction. Doesn't mean you play with all or participate with all. But I will accept the fact that there are people who aren't generous, loving, and kind to themselves or to others. That doesn't mean I participate in that. I accept the fact that there's multiple dimensions. Multiple levels of consciousness on this planet. But where am I participating? So you start to look at what's my belief and what's the most accurate belief. I find something that has helped people, just automatic writing. What do I need to know today? First thought, what comes through? Sometimes thoughts come through in the shower, comes through when you're not really thinking of it. You're not trying so hard. You're baking cookies, you're washing dishes, you're walking the dog. Things just come to you when you have that open space. I think you just set the intention, bring me my clarity. I'm here to listen, to understand, and to know myself. And by the same token, I'm here to listen, understand, and know the people that I share my life with. And for each one of us, it may come in differently or in different, maybe it's self first, maybe it's others first. It's not a one way or the other. And I think when you're being directed, there's only one way to do something. Perhaps that's not the best. It may be a starting point, but there's not what I say, an absolute that you only do it this way. You find what's your.
I think what we have is people have their control dials so jacked up and locked in.
Yes.
That again, that coil is so tight that you're not getting the free flow of creative juices, or really your lifeline, your proper oxygen, your circulation of lifeline. Mm-hmm. And so they don't want to accept change unless it's under their control of change. And I know one of the things that I feel works is when I skipped away from everything I'd learned, my higher self, who is me, who merged with me back in about 2017. Later in that year, I was walking down the stairs and I heard, "Can you forget everything you've learned?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Yes." And then I heard, "Even if you hear it and it's familiar, can you listen, sense it, feel it, and relearn it differently and see if it really truly applies or makes sense to you?" And I said, yes. And ever since then, I've never been able to pick up a book. And ever since then, I'm very selective. Like, for example, during the time we were all indoors for a period of time, you didn't have a lot to do. So it's like, oh, let's listen to this YouTube. So I would say, okay, I'm going to turn on this YouTube. And how does it benefit me? Is this something I'm to listen to now? And if I had to go back and rewind it, or I didn't quite understand it, it would be, or their voice changed, I would say, not for me right now, not for me. So a lot of steps can be taken to say, is this right for me in this now moment? And does it benefit me to be the best that I can be right now? Or is it a distraction?
We got a lot of distractions, and you weren't forcing things. And you just made an immediate shift. Not everybody makes an immediate shift, and that's okay. But you immediately, I did that when I was about 13. I was smoking for some reason out of boredom, right? And I just said, I need to be done. The very next day, I was so nauseated, I never picked it up again. So that was a large, different consciousness, but it was like very clear to me, this is not benefiting me.
Yes.
Why am I allow myself go into boredom instead of creating something enticing and exciting for me? Because I wanted to fit in. I don't need that safety net anymore.
And doesn't
So
it feel so freeing that you can literally walk into a room and the mindset is one way and you're a-okay standing right there with it with absolutely no resistance or knowing I'm different, I'm better, I'm awake, you're not. You can literally just be there and just be around everyone who has a whole different philosophy and you'll still be a-okay with what it is that you're learning and be comfortable in your own skin.
absolutely, to me, we're all in this beautiful symphony. And sometimes the music's, well, this is out of tune and that's out of tune because it's not my vibrational match. But I still get to play my music. I don't change my instrument. If I'm a violin, I'm still a violin. And then what I notice around me, it becomes a more cohesive field. And I actually literally hear the music changing because I hear all the soul's signatures coming into alignment. Doesn't always happen all at once, doesn't always happen quickly. But if I just allow it, the symphony does change. And so that's something I'm in the process of practicing every day, more on a global sphere. Of course, I'm not the only one, invited to do this, but many, many, many of us are changing the dynamics of the vibrational field we hold right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if you're a violin and I'm a trombone and I'm hitting a C and you're hitting a C and they sound completely different, it's a frequency of a C and together
Hmm.
alone it might sound great. Together it might go, oh, we need a harp in here or
Yeah.
something to tone this down and balance it out. And that's the beauty of finding other people out there who are trying to find their C and their frequency and learn from each other that we're
Or
all
maybe I don't
different,
even
but
like
we're all
trombone,
alike.
but maybe I don't want to be around a trombone right now, and that's okay. But I don't judge it as less than.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not my thing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all in with divine source, we're all in a concert of some sort,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and we don't need to continue to pay dearly for the
Mm.
sacrifices that we've allowed ourselves to participate in, not just ourselves, but collectively over generations and generations. We're just here to say, pump the brakes. I think I want to shift over here. How do we make this better? How do we resolve this so moving forward, we don't go into this pit again?
Yeah. And it's really a conscious decision. Am I done with pain, sorrow, suffering, sacrifice, martyrdom, victimhood? Do I have enough information on that? Yeah, I think I do. Let's go get me into the next level of consciousness. And you're aware of it by your words. What am I saying to myself and to others? How am I responding to things? You change your language, which changes the vibration. You can quickly shift into something different and you can create a whole new way of being and living. But it takes practice and it takes intention. It takes desire too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in 2026, are you seeing a lot more of this awakening happening amongst
Yeah.
individuals who had absolutely who have their control dial all the way up and locked in?
I'm seeing more and more people like you where it's just an instantaneous, almost an overnight,
Yeah.
an awakening. It's like, oh, it's like literally the timer was set for February 12th, 2026, November 19th. So this is when I go into remembrance. And some people I'm seeing more and more just go into full remembrance. And then maybe a little, adjustment period as they start to remember, bring things to the surface. And others are more like, more of a gradual. But 2026, 27, 28, I see I've been hearing the drum beats and the rumbling. I think we're going to have both. We're shaking things out, but more and more people are aware and they're just like, we are not living like this anymore. And whatever my soul has decided, what I've created, for what's my highest and best, it's going to come through pretty quickly. So the things that aren't working, really, it's like a tsunami, it's a landslide. We're going to see that. But man, so many beautiful awakenings. And, we call it ascension. I see it more, it's an awareness and then descending the light body into the physical form. Like we got to make more space. Our body's mostly space, but let's fill that space with, if you can't see my face, but I call it all the yummies, the love and the compassion, the generosity, the delight, the joy, the bliss, the creativity, the passion, the pause, all those things. But man, I think people are turning on just like that. And I think our leadership's changing to the next 3, 4, 5 years
Mm-hmm.
across the board, whether it's corporate or educational, medical, global. Yeah. So when I look out, it feels very, I just get a big smile on my face. It feels very open, relaxed, peaceful, generous. There's some clunky, you can hear some distortion in there, but I want to see the distortion. I want to know what's been hidden. I want to know what no longer works for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get to say no. Then I get to say yes. I create something new. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, anytime you change the channel, there's distortion. It just happens so quickly, you
Always.
don't see the distortion, right?
Yeah.
Back in the old days when we had the TV that had 6 channels, when you actually had to manually change it, you saw the little lines in between each channel. And if you didn't get your little dial just right, between a 9 and a 7, there was no channel 8, there'd be this fuzz in there, and then you'd have to move the rabbit ears or whatever. I mean, I just dated myself, but that is what the energetic life is all about.
Exactly.
And you can decide to continue your routine every single day. There's people that are in their routines so much so that if they miss one part of that routine, they will short circuit for the rest of the day. You can continue with that until you're ready to make the change. You could have a routine that, hey, the recliner and the remote is the only place you know how to relax. That's up to you. But
Yeah.
there's many of us that are going, you know what? I think there's more I could be doing here to get to know the me, myself, and I of it in this creation of who I am, because I can't get time back. So what am I going to do with my time in this moment? And what better way to do it than to get to know yourself, and what is it that you actually like, and just stick to the 5 senses of your human. And then you're going to see the sensory of the spiritual kind of open up, and you're going to be able to have this like dual conversation with yourself as you're merging with this higher self,
Yeah.
which is your guardian, which is your counterpart, your cellular counterpart in a spiritual way, so to speak. So I love life every single freaking day, and I love what it just presents for me. And when I trip and fall, I laugh and get up and go, all right, well, I guess we won't, hopefully don't do that again. But if we do, I know I can pick myself up and I can go again.
Yeah. And to feel the potentiality, there's thousands of potentials for every day. I typically look at the highest 5. And I also took the practice on a couple of years. If I knew I only had 2 days or 7 days to live, is this what I'd be doing? Would it be in the recliner in the TV? What would I be doing?
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes I'd remind myself, no, this is an old pattern. This is how I found safety. This is how I shut myself off from things that were unpleasant. And then like, well, you get to look at that unpleasantness and like, yeah, that's what it was. It doesn't mean it is now. But I think that's maybe the difference, is it won't be as difficult for people going through things now, perhaps, but it can be, you can resolve things in what we call healing much, much quicker, because there's been some pre-work done, and the remembrance comes in like a bullet. So I love that every day is a beautiful experience, right?
Yeah, listen, if this type A chicky doodle can do it, you all can do it too. My ex-husband used to always say, I think the dog learned how to chase his tail by watching you. Because I was just always like, do, don't sit down. When you sit down, every ache, pain, thought, relaxation wants to set in. You're like, nope, more productive, But I realized as time went on, my body was in the best production when I allowed it to just sit and to relax and to just be in a space where no one was calling my name.
And your body is really the key, right? That's the vehicle we have, and like that's our communication center, is our body. What's our body telling us? And we've been very well trained into ignoring the body until something extreme happens. So now I have to look at like, what's the body telling me? Why did I twist my ankle, or why am I getting achy me? And it's just listening, going into your greatest ability right now, or that you said, is your feel. I know things. And then I have the other senses coming too, but I just know. And when I honor the knowing and you honor the feeling, life's that much easier. So it's getting through the doubt. And sometimes it just feels like I'm making this up, or I'm crazy, or what's wrong? This can't be true. I'm hearing the same thing. Or um, it's just acknowledging the difference between the intuitive thought and the mental mind. And that can be a little tricky sometimes. But with slowing things down, you get to notice the difference. So I really think it is slowing down, not distraction all the time. And we're inundated with distraction right now. So we have choice. Why am I allowing this?
Yeah, and I
And
think
once
the
you get that,
intuitive self too also has a different feeling. And the
Mhm.
egoic logical mind also has a rapid pace to it. And then it wants to bebop around to self-doubt and things like that. But if you listen to the inner voice, it has a different resonance to it.
Totally different quality, right?
Yes.
And the mind just knows what it's already experienced. So it'll just kind of find that maze, and I need to find it again. This is safety.
Mm-hmm.
What I already know, that feels safe. Then just allowing something new to come through.
Yeah, I know for me, I've lived my whole life that way, which is why I've beat to a different drum and I'm okay with that. Um, but you still have to learn how to maneuver through a 3D world with different communication. So everybody can do it. It's just a matter of stop, drop, sit, connect with your breath, and it puts your intention in of what do you want to see change in your world in this moment for this particular day, and let it be that simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we overcomplicate things, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. More is more. We always want to do more is more. And if
Yeah.
anyone has looked at what's been going on just in the last 5 or 6 years, we've had this great divide because number one, we have more things are coming out, more AI, more, electronics, more this, more that, more efficiency, oh, we got more things to do during the day, more car trips to do, more this, that, and the other. And then you have that base of, oh, you better stock up, you better do this. So it all comes from this fear of busy, busy, busy. And then you have some that came out of that, stay at home time going, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
kind of like this slower pace. Like I just saw the world differently and I want to maintain that.
More of that, right? Yeah. So I think that's the
More of
value.
that.
I find value in every experience. I'm sure you do too.
Yes.
And there's different trajectories or different funnels, and different populations will align with one story, perhaps, but there's always opportunity for growth and opportunity for expansion. And that time period really, it shifted the whole planet intentionally. Some, you know, it's whatever I guess your perspective is, has maybe a different discussion, but it did give us space and breath to do things differently. And a lot of truth started coming through. So maybe the truth is, I need the paycheck. I need to stay at a job that makes me miserable just because I'm in survival. Or I need to stay connected to family because of blah, blah, blah. And you start to see, maybe I have some choice here. Like the veil starts to be removed, or the cheesecloth that we have in front of us. And that to me, that experience brought forward more intuition, more grace, more peace, a lot of divisiveness too. So what I'm sensing going forward in the next 50, 60, 100 years is we don't have to understand the human soul and the human connection through divisiveness and through discord. It's been our way for many, many reasons, but it's not a necessity anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole energetic ecosystem is changing and it's an unseen thing, but what you're seeing is the behavior and the diagonals and the slants of life are just changing. So people are many are getting back into the heart center of just wanting to be a little bit kinder today, to give a hug, to give a smile, and others were going to be snarly because they think
And you know, when you
that's their own
hold that
protection.
vibration, is there protection? When you start to hold that vibration, even just a smile on your face, you will see people responding to you differently. Oftentimes when I'm out and about, and I like people. So I think everybody's divine. I think everybody's lovely, even when it's like not really seen. Doesn't mean I engage with everybody if it doesn't feel correct to me. But basically, I like people. And I'll be out in the store. I remember this happened maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And I'd just done this wonderful event and everybody had this wonderful time and just was like, it was just a fantastic day for everybody. And I had to go grocery shopping right after that. And I went in the store and people would just stand in front of me and they would just stand there and look at me. And I would say, hello, hi. And the first gentleman just looked at me. And finally, he kind of like got a, he said, oh, hi. And he walked away. It happened like 12 times because I was mirroring back to them their divine spark that maybe they forgot, or maybe they just liked the energy. I didn't question it a whole lot. That happens more and more often now because that's what my desire is. I see the light in you because you are the light in me. And so that's my conscious thought. That's what I want to present in the world. I don't always achieve it some days. Some days I forget or get caught or just, some days I'm just so content I don't think I have anything on my face. But mostly it's like I love my life right now. Took a while to get here, but I'm so freaking happy. And I have to be very aware when I drop into collective consciousness. Because it's easy for me to go into despair and feel that. And so I just have to say, okay, I'm witnessing it. Yep, that's there. I'm not going to serve it by expanding it. Great compassion for those and however they're participating in it, but I'm not adding to it. I'm gonna be the ladder out of the murky water. I'm gonna be the life raft or the life ring. I'm gonna be the life, not the life saver. I'm not saving people. No more. But if you want a path out, here's my path where you can create your own. But there is a way out. Lots of openings.
So tell me how will people get in touch with you and what they can expect with sessions, with events, with classes, and of course the newsletter. I think that's a free thing to sign up for. So
Right.
Everyone should be going to your website and signing up on that because all the nuggets that you can share are just something that's going to help everyone be better in the now.
Yeah. Easiest way is just go to my website, KristineKieland.com. And YouTube sometimes, Instagram, Facebook, do some social media as I'm guided. I don't force it or push it. I do a monthly, group thing for people they can sign up for and register. When you set up a session with me, I never know what we're doing until we really sit down, get into the energy. I listen to your consciousness. If you have questions or desires, we start there. Sometimes I'll hear, we're going to do something different. It's always for your highest and best. And yeah, it's really just that simple. There's a reason you're reaching out to me by my name or my face or a discussion, or it's more of a knowing and a feeling. Sometimes people say, I don't really know why I'm coming to you. I just know I need to be here. So it's the energy and the consciousness and how do I best serve that and honor that. Yeah.
And that's somebody listening to their intuitive self. I don't know why I'm here, but I am. So I'm just going to be fully present with no expectations and just let things flow and be okay with the flow. You may walk out and go, not just with your sessions, but in general with life, you may walk out and think, all right, well, that was a whole lot of nothing, but was it? Was it really a whole lot of nothing? Because down the road, 6 months, a year, 2 months later, and something else comes up and it sparks and then it links it together. And then you're like, oh, okay. So we all start on our journey somewhere. And the first place to start is listen to that intuition. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. And that's a beautiful starting point.
It's wonderful. Or people say, I'm coming for these 3 reasons. And I'll answer, well, look at that. But really, the reason you're really here for something very different.
Yes.
But the reasons that brought you to the knowing of what's really best for you. I find that quite often with pet communication.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it's not about the pets. It's about the person.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about the pets, most it's about the person. So you just, I honor you, however, whatever is best for you. And I have the ability to just listen and see and know and understand your soul and your expression, what is best for you to know at this time. So that's what I offer. And I'm really clear on that. And I trust that 100%.
Yeah, because if you go and overload because someone has multiple questions and spirit's like, no, they need to hear this and allow this to marinate and digest a little bit,
Yeah.
then give that nugget later. But when you overload somebody, it's too much on the brain and it's too much on the rest of the body to even incorporate that. So sometimes you may have a different visceral response than if you just took in the golden nuggets
Yeah.
and then allowed yourself to build upon that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a
That's
beautiful
always
spiritual
perfect.
road.
Yeah. That's always perfect.
Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to share with everyone today?
Oh my gosh, just a lot of gratitude. So much gratitude for this opportunity to be with you and to get to know you and share some of the thoughts with your audience. And yeah, I just go inward to your heart. Just go inward and let that overflow. And then it's not a cautionary tip, is be aware of what's overflowing. I kind of set up that nothing less than pure conscious love enters my field, but also nothing less than pure conscious love leaves my field. I have to be very aware, both sides. So it's just more awareness. And thank you again for this opportunity. It's so lovely to be with you.
It is so awesome to be with you. And guess what? I'm going to be making a session and I'm going to have no expectations. We're going to let it go with the flow. And then we're going to come back on for another show and we're going to share my experience with that. And so everyone, please like, subscribe, and share so you do not miss upcoming episodes. And if you have a question for myself or Kristine or anyone else that's on this podcast, please always leave a message down in the comments. We'll do our best to answer them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
All right. Stay put. I'm just going to sign off. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it spiritually simple. We'll see you on the next episode.